Hello and a warm welcome to the WenDirkCast. It's me, Calva, again introing, and the Twitch Eurostar Jimbo. And together we are hosting the WenDirkCast, and as always we're discussing the latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more as the weeks go by. As always, one important note: this is not financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. So Jimbo, we have a special guest again in our studio.
We do have a special guest in the WenDirk studio with us today. Someone who many of you have either listened to or watched. If you've not watched MFL content, you really should go and do so. Even though multi-season contract offers got removed, this person has recently actually signed a multi-season deal with auto-renewal turned on by default, which that will make sense in about 10 seconds time when I tell you the reason why. You may have already known about this person before you joined MFL, if you are very familiar with Nep and his whole content space. It is none other than Josh, also known as JoshXLs. And before we say welcome, I want to say congratulations for the wedding you've just recently had. Welcome in.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah, 3-season contracts at least. We'll look to renew that in the future. So no, it was really nice. I would love to say that I timed the wedding perfectly to go in mid-season, so between two seasons, it was absolutely perfect. Didn't have to worry about setting any of my teams up, but it was just chance that happened. It's great to be here. It's nice to chat to you.
Yeah, well, welcome in. We're great to have you on. How did you deal with? So there was some games when you were away.
No, so
there wasn't.
Well, the first game started when I was away on honeymoon afterwards.
Okay,
but
there you go.
For anyone who has been married, the week to 2 weeks before is probably the most manic I've ever been in my entire life, and that was the time when it was like, okay, I need to put my squads together. I need to start thinking about how I'm going to set my teams up. That's when I start testing usually, and it was like, I don't have time to do any of this. I have more time than I think my now wife knows I did in terms of setting my teams up. But yeah, I had the wedding kind of between the seasons, and then I think the season started on the Wednesday or Thursday when I was on honeymoon. So I had 4 games whilst I was away. So it was, half an hour of changing the teams around, and that was it.
But you managed everything, so that's
yeah.
That's
we got there. We've not started terribly this season, so there's a few holes in a few squads that probably would have been filled had I not been getting married. But we live and learn.
Yeah. Well, maybe more about that later, about how your season is going, etc. Before we start with everything, I think we have 2 main things to discuss. Maybe the quick talk about the meetup, because we're all going, right?
Yes, Josh, you're coming, aren't you?
We had a nice video, little announcement, a bit more details. So what was your initial reaction to that?
Well, when in the kind of information they gave us, they were like, you want to try and stay between these 2 areas. I think it was 2 bridges. And I was like, there's something between, almost equidistant between those 2 places that feels very football related, but there's no way we're going to the Parc de France. There's just no, I know that MFL's growing out of that, but come on, that's ridiculous. So when I saw that when the video came out and it's like, it is the Parc de France, we're going to be next to the pitch, it's going to be amazing. I'm just looking forward to seeing everyone and having a beer and chatting about the game as well, because I think, especially when you get into something online like this, you have those online forums, but you just don't have that personal interaction. And I think being able to just chat to a group of people who all have had the same experience as you, it really helps build community as well. And I think it's one of the strong points of MFL. The community is amazing. I think it will only grow from actually meeting up and having a beer together as well.
Yeah,
totally agree.
It will be amazing, but also kind of weird. Especially Jimbo, we have seen our
2 years,
faces, 2 years like this the whole time, and then in real life, it must be so meeting a celebrity in some way, like, oh, this person exists in a form.
People always ask me, have you met Calva yet? And I'm like, no, I've just been on a call with them every Sunday. By the way, recording on a Thursday, by the way, folks, because when you listen to this, when you listen to this, I'm currently in Seville, which is why it's not been recorded on the usual time. Everyone's like on the streams and whatever. Oh, like, how many times have you met Calva then? I'm like, no, I just speak to him every week for at least 2 hours and for the last 2 years, and I've still not met him in person. Which I can't wait to meet yourself, Calva.
It will be very interesting.
but
good, of course.
What a venue to be at, though. What a venue.
Yeah, and then Parc des Princes. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Unless you're a Marseille fan, like some people have said on Twitter, which it baffles me, to be honest. Like, I kind of see a bit of it, but it just completely. So,
okay, Jimbo. Let's say it was in the Ipswich Stadium. How would you feel?
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. No, I wouldn't go. There's something about. I've never been on the turf at Norwich, but I will get to. I know we're not going to get on the turf, unless someone decides to knee slide onto the Parc des Princes pitch, which they'll probably immediately get booted out. But I still think someone's going to try and do it regardless. Although probably when the team listen to this pod, they'll probably post. Everyone have to sign a waiver, no vandalism of any of the property of PSG Stadium. But no, if it was at Ipswich's ground, I probably wouldn't go. I'd see what.
Are you for real?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. But I'm in a fortunate position where, I don't think if it were ever a UK meetup, we'd pick Portman Road in the east of England to go. We'd probably pick somewhere like London. So. But yeah, I wouldn't go.
No, it's interesting. I didn't know.
We're going to Paris.
Fans like Sorare OM, I think he was the most,
Look at his initial tweet. He's like fuming.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. There's a neutral ground next door. Can't believe it.
I really cannot relate to that. Although I don't really support the club, but that you can be so against even going. What if you're an away fan? Don't they have away fans in PSG, right? Parc des Princes, Marseille, PSG away, or what? Like, and then you wouldn't go there also, or it's like too much honoring, having fun. You can't. Or it's just.
I think there's a bit less of a away fan culture in France, from what I know, just because I think there's been so many times that they've been banned or you're not allowed to go to a game. So I don't know how often there are away fans at the Parc des Princes, but I mean, there'll be a section because Champions League, you have to have away fans, don't you? So.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see the Champions League trophy, which I assume will be there. Because that'll be sick to have a little photo or something.
Yeah.
And then
regardless of all, it will be really amazing. And I hope all Marseille fans, if they show up, also will enjoy it.
In their kits as well.
Yeah. Oh, that will be fun. Yeah. Again, they're just away fans then. Okay. And then maybe the final thing, streaming business. I saw Arango really helped your stream.
Arango, a last-minute goal yesterday to beat Duff's side 1-0. It's quite funny because literally just before he scored, I went, I'm so sorry, guys. This has been a terrible game for us to watch on stream, 0-0. And then it's 90-second, like 30th. No, 92nd minute, like 30 seconds or so. And then it's one of those goals that when you watch it and you go, I'm not really sure that I could picture it happening in real life, but we'll take it. It's one of those where winger goes past like four tackles, 2 from the same player. And then Arango just does a 180 and smacks it like first time. I'm like, I don't think that's really realistic, but I'm going to take the last minute goal at the near post anyway from that. So, so streams have been good. Obviously, because I'm away, there won't be watch-alongs next week. But don't worry, folks, you're still going to get the pod as you listen to it now. And there'll still be a pack drop stream, even though I'm not here. So, Calva, your word has it. Your quiz won't be going anywhere because that's what the people want to...
No, it should be happening. Yeah, I'm setting it up.
Look at this. Calva's got the stream logistics. He's going to be the...
well, I'm not streaming it myself, but I'm kind of like a parasite. Normally I'm in Jimbo, and now I'm moving to another host. So will be announced. But I'm working on that. So there will be a quiz, so people can still win something, as always. Yes. So that's happening. Okay, updates. Well, moment of the week. First.
I've already said mine. It's the Arango.
So maybe your moment is just Arango.
Arango scoring, and the Wyverns are now 3rd in bronze after being projected 10th. So everyone who doubted us and called us Bronze Heist, have that.
Bronze Heist. I didn't.
Everyone calls us Bronze Heist in the stream. They're like, Bronze Heist at it again. Bronze Heist at it again. And I'm now 3rd, and they're all sort of, I'm humbling them. But then again,
Great.
we're not even the midway point of the season yet, so it can still go to shit. So I can't stay complacent.
Nice. Josh, what about you? Any special moment or memorable moment this week?
My league game 2 nights ago, I played the second highest rated team in the league based on the projections, and this is in bronze. I'll get onto it when I talk about how season 5 went. My team has no business being in bronze, and I'm like 3 ratings lower than 11th. And so I was playing the second best team in the league. I just wiped the floor with them. I mean, like it was the most comfortable 2-0 win I've had, and just one of those moments where I went, survival might actually be on the cards here. So I don't know. Yeah, that was definitely the highlight.
Yeah, but so you also feel there was no luck or like RNG or I don't know. Like, do you feel like does your tactics work well against that side?
Yeah, I think I mean, like, it was 2.4 XG to 0.27 XG in my favor. Like, it wasn't close. Like, I had 13 shots to his 2. Now, I did only score in, like, the 75th minute, I think, and then got, like, the settler in the 93rd. So maybe not the most comfortable 2-0 win I've ever had. But, like, just in terms of that going toe-to-toe and tactically being able to come away like really comfortable winners, I think, yeah, it's made me think that there's a chance I might stay up, and I'd kind of resign myself to relegation. So yeah, that's probably been the highlight.
It's the hope that kills you, Josh. It's the hope
it
that
is,
kills
it is.
you.
I'm saying all this. I am literally a place above the relegation spot. So
yeah. Well, more about that later, about your journey from season 5 to season 6, etc. I'm really thinking hard of my moment of the week, but actually league. Last time we were talking about my stacked bronze team, but now they are like drawing and losing, and I don't know what's going on. But staying the course,
humble stacker. No, not a humble stacker.
I'm getting humbled there.
Love it.
But yeah, just stay the course. They're still doing very well, but the cup is going very well for my. Side. The Corsairs are like 7 points unbeaten in the elites, so for me that's pretty good. And also and with like both bronze in the Contenders Cup, also doing pretty good. So for me the cup run is going well. And yeah, I have my lean squads like 17, 18, so just keep rotating. So it's not like B teams, A teams like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a highlight for me that the cup is going well. Although then, yeah, if you do, with the Corsairs relegating gold, then you're like, was that smart? But let's see how it goes.
There's just quickly, there's one massive surprise in my bronze league. I've got Profound Soda. His FC Cincinnati side in bronze got relegated, I think, from silver into bronze last season, or it stayed in bronze. It's like 2-3 overall, better than second in the projections. And the bloke's not won a game all season. And he's got 287 rated and 86, 285. So 5 legendaries in bronze. And this bronze league is tough. And he's, above and beyond people in the league in terms of, on paper. Bloke's not won a game all season. And he's rock bottom of bronze. He's got 2 points. I thought the Wyvern stunk out the gaff with 6 points in half a season last year, but at this current rate, he's going to be achieving less than that with 5 legendaries, which I think is shambles. So I'm sorry if you're listening, Profound Soda, but it's that's quite funny.
I would say that's quite motivating for everyone else. We talked about this, like how much I said before, like 80-20, 80% squad, 20% tactics. Maybe it's more 70-30. I think you said before 70-30.
Yeah,
it shows like tactics may have a bigger role than overall.
Because I think he's always been in the same ladder, obviously as the Wyverns, and I think he's always owned all his players from season 1 in the club. So I think he just ran the same players with auto renew, and obviously if you run the same formation, you just set and forget it, then chances are after a while it will just peter off and perform badly, and you're sort of stuck in a no man's land with it. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, which is. I think it's kind of a crazy situation for him.
Yeah, no, it's good to point out. Good story, wake up call. Also for me, overall stacking is not everything. You need tactics to back that up. Dev updates. Yeah, because we are recording on Thursday, there is not a new dev updates, but there are like 3 main things, and I want to ask maybe Josh, you have some opinions on or takes on those things. So versus the marketplace offers, they should be released. I don't know. It was like this week, but I don't know when. But very soon probably. The second big thing is the engine, and then of course the photorealistic project, the AI pictures, etc. Do you have any opinion, any take on those either those three things?
I'm worried slightly about offers and what that may do to the way the market functions. I have a feeling most other places where there's an offer function has like a block function alongside it where you can stop somebody from just spamming like bad offers. So I hope something comes along that's similar to that. So I think it's necessary because going to a different website just feels unclean a little bit, like in terms of the way that it works. And, you know, everyone wants to negotiate a price a little bit, even if it's like taking $1 off a $200 purchase. You're kind of like, well, I got something, you know. The photorealistic project, I'm so on the fence. I don't think I'm going to join you on that sofa. It did look like a 3-person sofa.
Yeah, it did. I got space for one more if anyone wants to join Josh and I.
But yeah, I'm not that fussed. I don't get attached to the pictures as much. Every view that I have is just the stats. I like spreadsheets, so you know, it's just a like nice looking spreadsheet essentially. So like kind of okay. I think what it opens up in the future is more interesting, the kind of photorealistic aspect. If you can then have like, I don't know, social media accounts, or even if we get to the point where AI can create press conferences or like kind of signing animations, things like that become a lot more shareable and a lot more kind of, because I really like the post-game share function. I think some of the thing like the graphics that you can just create off those are amazing. Once it becomes photorealistic and looks like a real player, like then it starts looking like, you know, the kind of 5-a-side leagues that post their stats, and like the 5-a-side teams that get far too involved in it and start like having like their own social media accounts and stuff. Like I think it opens up an interesting path there. So I want to see what it looks like, but I can't think it would be bad. Otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it would be really cool. Yeah, like you can have those goal celebrations, right? You have like those that you can generate those, or lineups with 11 like faces, like a proper Champions League lineup, things like that. So, and AI develops crazy fast. We've been talking about that, so I'm sure in the future you can do so much with that. And the good thing, yeah, with the cards we have right now, you don't get really consistent results then, because I think if you want to make it realistic into realistic graphics, each AI will do it just differently. And now you have one dude, clear photo that you can then use. So that's an advantage. And engine, anything? Maybe later.
I quite like this season's engine. I think it's pretty balanced. The things that they're saying they're fixing are things that definitely need to be fixed. I still don't think goalkeepers are very good.
Not much, no.
But I like that the engine changes not significantly, but enough between each season that it's rare that the same tactic will work like 3 seasons in a row. It might work 2 seasons in a row, but when you get to that 3rd season, it's like, I need to do something different. Like I ran the 3-5-2 in season 4, and I went to run it in season 5 and just was getting demolished in testing, and so had to switch to something else. So I think I like that it's constantly being worked on. It will never be perfect. A perfect engine is actually imperfect, because you get freak results in real life. And as I don't think people would want to play a game where it's just best rating wins. Like the tactics do have to have an effect, and the individual stats, how you play to those stats, have to have an effect. So, I'm kind of always cautiously optimistic whenever they say we're working on something and there's going to be a fix. Like, I can't wait for my first like swaz through ball, like just like curl down the line. I want David Beckham on the wing putting balls into the box. Like, so yeah, no, I think this it's moving in the right direction, definitely.
Yeah, I think that was also our conclusion with Kev, right? That we said like it's maybe from a 5 to a 6 or 7, not 10. Will it ever be 10? Probably not, right? Because it's, as you said, it can never be perfect. Plus, people we said that before, their tolerance for upsets is, everyone has a different tolerance for that, plus a different view on how it should work, so it can never be perfect. But yeah, like an 8-9, we're going there, I reckon. Jimbo, you wanted to chime in?
I was just going to say, back to the marketplace offers, they've been delayed till next week. Yak said, after had some issues that happened only in production. So they're going to roll them out next week, which is unfortunate, but they've got to get it right, and they're not going to push it unless happy with it. In the stream yesterday, Yaks did turn them on, or turn the interface of it on for 2 minutes. He was like, go into your HQ for 1 second, and I was like, what am I looking at? And suddenly, just next to the inventory was offers, and you clicked on it, and it had 2 sections: offers sent, offers received. I immediately went onto the marketplace, went high to low, tried to send a 0.01 offer to the highest listed legendary until Yaks went, it's not live yet, and then just took it off. So I don't know what's timestamp that's at, but there's a good 30 seconds of just showing what it might look like. And me trying to be a crafty bugger and offer Dio 1 cent for a 94 rated player. But the other thing which I did see today was that if you go to your inbox now, they've coloured the different, oh my god, I'm botching this, different inboxes within your notification inbox. Probably the best way to say it. So you've got squad updates, contracts, announcements, and sales, I think, maybe. I can't remember the exact 4. Josh, you might know. You're nodding away like you know them top of your head, but
I think it's announcements, contracts, transfers.
I could just open up my inbox.
I think squad update was right as well.
And that's also, if you click on the yellow dot, you also see it in those categories. So making the UI a bit better, a bit more, separating those.
Announcements, contracts, transfers, squad updates, yellow, blue, green, red.
It just looks clean. I really like. I liked it when I saw it this morning.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So next to inventory there, or somewhere, there will be an offers.
That's where it will say offers.
Area.
That's where the offers will be.
Sent.
And then when you click on a player, they were live for a couple of minutes earlier until they saw that it wasn't working. So if you go into the idea suggestion and search for Frad Joko, and you see one of his images he posted sort of shows you send offer or something like that, and they've just cleaned and sort of set and tabbed off stuff, so it's not one big contract actions transfer market. They're just sort of making subtle changes to the interface to make it look more polished, which I'm always for. But yeah, that was the last sort of dev update piece I've got to contribute.
So AI is getting better, and then we'll see next week the offers being live, probably. Not so they delayed it a little bit, so a little bit alpha, a little bit extra.
People with big
a little
agencies,
bit of a real dev update.
People with big agencies will know when it's been turned on even before they know it's announced, because they probably wake up to about a gazillion things in their inbox saying offer. So they'll know. Look, it's not transfer window already, is it? And then bang.
Offer season.
Yeah, offer season.
Offer season is here. Okay, then the Diamond League update. Surprise, Meta Mercenaries have won their last 5 games. So 19 points. They are
given the league already.
They are from Berlin, but they're acting like Bayern Munich, right? I think they're
we're like PSG, just
or PSG. Yeah,
is Diamond a Farmers League? They might.
They make it seem Ronin like that. Well, Bishona Scrub still tries to hang on, 15 points, but then already 7 points to places 3 and 4. Dio and Tango 12 points. Then we have Quito Bonito. They made a nice, kind of run. They're now 5th of 11. Then Ohm Legends 10, BFC Barcelona 10, Naples Goldfellas 10, Variance 9, Roma 9, and then of course Sweet London, Jogo Bonito both 0. But Jimbo, if you look at this table, it kind of looks like our predictions. So crystallizing out kind of.
Yeah, the team at the top right and the team at the bottom 2 correct. I don't think it's hard to get those wrong this season, but it kind of skews how you perceive the standings in the league, because you got MFC Roman variants, 10th and 9th, and you realise they're only 3 points away from 3rd, even though they're in the relegation zone. So you've got Meta Mercenaries and probably Bishoni Milano, who will that clearish top 2. I know there's only 3 points between 2nd and 3rd. 11th and 12th, both on 0 points. And the rest of the league is just up for grabs at the moment. You cannot... I've been doing some of those down prediction things, and, BFC Barcelona and Amsterdam Lions, just some results have been freak recently. But because of the Sweet London Yoga Bonito, there's like an extra free rotation game for everyone. So they can play rotation side and all their weaker players in Diamond, which are still stupidly strong players. But that doesn't matter because they're playing, 53 rated Joe Bloggs in goal for Sweet London. And we'll just knock like 8 or 9 past them. So it kind of skews it a little bit. But, 2 Diamond Heist teams this season as opposed to the one.
Yeah, speaking about Diamond Heist. Well, Josh, later we'll talk a bit more about how that was for you. But maybe since you were there last season, do you still follow it, or do you feel like some sympathy for some teams, or you don't like other teams, or
it's no not liking any teams. I think a lot of it is more kind of, I think it comes from now knowing how hard it is to just put a team together at that level, like who owns the players, and then how much people want to use those players. It's a level of competition that's so far above, even now I'm up to bronze, the difference is night and day. I mean, any league where the same team wins every season, you do end up losing a bit of interest in it. It was nice that City didn't win the league this year. PSG is in a Farmers League, Bundesliga is the same. So it would be nice if someone could challenge Meta, but I mean, you've got to hand it to them. Even with having the best team, you have to tactically be so good to be as consistent as they are at that level of the game. So yeah, I mean, hey, I'm seeing Sweet London with 0 goals scored, right? And I'm just saying, Diamond Heist had got at least 3 by this point in the season. Now, we didn't get any more, but we got at least 3 at this point in the season.
Well, Joga Bonito got 2, so they're close. You still did better, but yeah, I think the big challenge, the fun is gonna start with the retirement. What if Ronan gets super unlucky and 3 of his big stars retire early? Announce it maybe even at the end of this season they announce their retirement. Then he has 3 more seasons to replace Ultimates, and Ultimates you cannot pack, right? So
no, and it was something I spoke to Jimbo about actually on message, which is there's 37, I think, Ultimates at this point in the game. 35 of them were already in the game in Season 1. So only 2 Ultimates have been kind of packed between now and then and have progressed to Ultimates. So when you then look at the age, because that's 5 years of aging for all of those players, they are going to start retiring soon, and they're not being filled in behind at the same rate that they started in the game. So I actually think at the very top level of the game, we might end up seeing a power drop a little bit in the teams once we start getting those retirements, because they're going to start being real hot property. So I would be surprised if we didn't start seeing more progression buys, like people trying to buy what might be the next ultimate player. I know Trust the Process has got Vidic, centre-back, who I think has gone up 27 in 2.5 seasons.
I think it's 5 now this season from an 85 to a 90. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so I'd be surprised if no one in Diamond was going, do you know what, maybe I should look at trying to pry them away for a price that kind of works for both parties.
Yeah, the
payday for trust
scouting kind of. This is going to be super interesting. I can't wait for that, and then to see maybe then Meta loses dominance and we have a very open Diamond League, so not Farmers League anymore. Let's see how that goes. Then the market moves. Let's talk a bit about some sales and the new manager of the week. I always try to keep an eye out on Twitter or in the sales bot. Do I see some interesting new names? And this week I picked Matty Jolly. He announced on Twitter that he got himself. I actually said, "What am I getting myself into?" And he tagged also Nep. Please send help. But yeah, he got a new club in Spark, MFC Calcio di Palermo. He filled it with a lot of $1 comments that he bought, so starting small. But in his Twitter bio, he also says he's an international performing artist. So maybe at the next meetup somewhere, we'll have live music from him. Let's see. We can already start planning that. Speaking about buying $1 comments, Fortress Agency, Ron John, he had another $1 common spending spree. And right now, well, we can maybe guess how many players he has right now. Like, let's see who's close.
1,200?
Jimbo,
I can't guess because I can see it in front of me.
Oh.
I think he was in the 1,100s when I looked the other day, but
he is now at 1,631 players.
See, he was in the stream yesterday.
That is too many.
And he was like, "Oh, Jimbo, check out one of the progressions of one of my players." And I went, "No, because I have to sit here on the stream for 5 minutes and waiting for your players to load up. So can you just link me the player, please?" I feel for those guys. They've got him and Trust have so many players. They want to go check out the progression for their whole agency. They just wake up in the morning, put the player tab on, go have a shower, have some breakfast, make a coffee, and then come back and it's loaded. How have they got the patience for that?
Yeah, and maybe Alexis has to send 5 emails for them. Like this is
True, yeah.
one email.
How long must that email be? Oh. I would say though, if you ever feel bad about your progression, go to the agencies that have the most players and actually look how many of their players have got the +3s and 4s, because it is far fewer than I think people would want themselves to believe.
Definitely. Yeah, so 1,631, let's see where that goes. Yeah, and Trust has 1,513 last time I checked. So there's like a race, kind of an arms race between those two as the most players. About rare players, I thought let's talk about my own transfer and see if you guys agree. I thought it was a no-brainer. So it was a 75 rated right back, 21 years old. He already has +7 progression, and I bought him for 120 USD. Would you say that's a no-brainer or not?
It seems like good value. When was the player minted at?
I think like even 16 or something. So in 5 seasons he had +7. So you can really see.
I still find it so difficult with, say, like the minted 16-year-olds that are now 21. I've got Romo who's gone up like 4, and I'm like, do you then gain a bit more as you get close towards your prime age? And how can I, extrapolate what his progression's already like into the rest of his career? But I think that's good value. I think that's
I just see it like prime age on average is like 26, 27. Even if it's 24, you still have 3 seasons with. Like, it promises a lot. So far, it has worked for me that if someone goes up +7 in the seasons after, there's at least more to come. +21 years old, you can do a lot of seasons.
Great age.
For me, I felt like this is really, no-brainer. Just buy and let's see.
I'll put
maybe
my watch
the next
list
harvesting, progression harvesting in 4 or 5 years.
Well, come the end of the season, if he's not at least gone up by another +7, then I will be slandering you for a poor purchase. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I keep being haunted on YouTube in the comments by this guy who talks about Dempsey, the guy about 500, who still has not gone up +1. Every comment is something about Dempsey. So it was like the conversion rate, like what I talked about. He said, "Oh, $1 is 1 Dempsey, or 1 MFL is 1 Dempsey." And he keeps taking the piss, but one day I'll prove him wrong, and Dempsey will go up.
One day.
It has not happened yet. Then legendary players, something balling. He keeps splashing. He bought Jeremy Bryant, English, 21-year-old right mid and striker, 85 rated. And he bought him for 600 USD from the international. So that's good. And also saw Josh, you actually splashed some cash on a centre back.
Whoopa.
Yeah, so this is a Diamond Heist, now Platinum Heist. We haven't renamed. It was such a good name last year, but I think we're just going to keep it and write it down to like silver. But I've got like alerts set up on the market for when a player in that kind of range comes up, and 23 tier breaking into Lego, I was like, for under $300, that just felt like too good of a price. And with power creep that's happening, the kind of team we were aiming for in gold, which was the original plan, was to like try and hold in gold, is a bit higher than I think we were anticipating. So improving one of those centre back slots, I think we're moving towards like a 5-back potentially, and just try and shut up shop and draw our way to survival. But I mean, he just looks like the kind of player that could progress. Like, he's been in the game since he's 18, so like all the seasons. And I don't know, at 23, you're averaging like 14 seasons of play. He's tier broke, I think, probably the most difficult is to go from rare to Lego, because it happens the most often. Obviously, we don't see it that often up at the ultimate level, but it seems like the one where players can stop for that long. And he's done it in one season, essentially. I went up to an 84 at the beginning of last season, went up to an 85 at the beginning of this season. The other thing I like is he's only got 86 defending. And so it feels like a lot of players will like grow 4 or 5 in a single stat in one season. And if that happens to be defending, he'll be like 88 very, very quickly. So for 299 just felt like a perfect purchase.
I think it's a smart buy. I think it's a smart buy.
Yeah, my guy actually also just had this tier break, and then so it's I think that's a good strat. Like when they break the tier, then you buy them. I think good strategy. So nice purchase there. About clubs, El Bappe, nice name, El Bappe. He bought Zurich, an iron club from Zurich for 139 USD from Boba, and then Boba went straight to the market to buy Rosario Stone for 110. I don't know, like if that's a good strat. Like you gotta make 29, but then you're a division lower and you have to promote back. But yeah, that's what he did.
Maybe El Bappe is maybe he resides in Argentina. You know that might be the reason.
No, but El Bappe, he bought the iron one.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I completely misread that.
But it's about this Boba. This Boba.
Maybe Boba. Sorry, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a this is such a stupid thing to say. I have a player called Arnildo Bobadilla, and he's an Argentine goalkeeper. So maybe there is some. This Boba guy is actually Argentine, and he just wants the Rosario club. There you go, loose connection. But maybe. I think it works.
It could be, but if it's like I'm doubting, like if he thinks like I sell my iron and stone and then sell it again, some people try to do this, but it can be casual.
I think you have to go up a few divs and then sell, come right back to the bottom and do it again. Because he sold it for 139, but he's going to get what 134, 133 because of fees. So he's not exactly going to get the full 139, is he? So
yeah. Indeed, it's time for you.
Splash of the half a week. Little improv because only half a week. Another great name that I can pronounce, nice and easy, an Irish player by the name of Gareth Clancy, 88 rated centre back, sold for $950, being purchased by Sid, being sold by, I think it's our good friends at, well, it's E Africa Sport Agency, but I always read it as EA Africa Sports Agency. Maybe that's just whenever you see E and A in block caps that show that you just originally always think of EA. Sold by him, bought by Sid for $950. Here's the breakdown of this player: 21 years old, centre back CDM, Irish, 88 overall, 76 pace, 71 passing, 77 dribbling, 95 defending, 77 physical, and for those who are concerned and really want to know what his shooting is for a centre-back, 26. So compared to, I think last week's Splash was a centre-back and he had like 75 shooting or something along those lines, which we thought was pretty crazy. Back to the standard now of centre-backs, absolutely, horrific shooting stats. And Calvi, you've noted here that Sid has also bought a lot of other legendaries this week. He's bought 3 other ones.
It was interesting.
The older players as well. 29, 28.
It's interesting. Yeah. So he bought quite some old guys, like 29 centre back 85 for 185, a 28 goalie 86 for 212. So I don't think Sid doesn't mind so much older players and more about using them to do very well in the league and I guess gain MFL. So we're really entering this phase. What is smart to do? Sell your old guys, buy old guys. I'm also a bit tempted. Should I sell? I have a legendary 29. Should I sell this guy? I listed him now lower. I think I could. It's better to sell him, buy another guy. But it's interesting to see what's happening. So Sid is buying a lot of them.
To give some progression context to this as well, because I know that's quite a key bit when it comes to big purchases in the marketplace, or any purchase for that matter in the marketplace. He was minted during season 2, season 3. So season 3 reward packs. So he's 18, now he's 21. He played 9 games in the first season and then since has played 21-20. He was an 80 rated at mint and now he's 88. And he progressed, he's missed near enough one season of progression. At the time of him playing only 9 games in Season 3, he was an 80 rated and 81 rated player in Iron as well, which you could argue was getting quite hampered by match XP in sort of early Season 3. So from a progression point of view, it probably looks quite nice. So I've not checked his height, 6'1" as well, for those who care about a height on a centre back. We know it means negligible amount at the moment, or minimal. Sorry, not negligible, minimal.
He could be one of those ultimates that Ronin wants, right?
It could be
21 already plus 8, 88.
Yeah,
he could be going there. Okay, then 2 more things in the updates. The IRL MFL. Well, are you guys watching any of this Club World Cup stuff?
I've not watched a single minute of it live. I've seen a couple of highlights. No. Actually, have I seen highlights? No, I've just seen highlights on Twitter of, well, I wouldn't say the highlights, it's more the lowlights of the tournament rather than the highlights, I think is probably the way I should be phrasing this. But no.
I've seen more pictures of empty stadiums than I have like actual games. I saw more of Soccer Aid last week. So.
Yeah, that's the thing I wrote down. Like, I want to make this connection about we have now the MFL Meetup and organizing events, and then when you organize, you want people to come, to show up, right, and to have a great program. But no one is really showing up there at the Club World Cup. Then next year, 1 year, we have a World Cup there, actual World Cup in the US, and in 4 years or 5 years from now in Saudi Arabia, another World Cup. So it's a bit sad. I don't think all of those tournaments will have a great. Right.
I could see the World Cup being very well attended.
Yeah.
Because for a World Cup you get like whole countries then will travel, whereas when it's just one club's fan base, and especially the size of some of these clubs, like how many people are really going to fly from Auckland to watch their semi-pro team play in America? And also the timings that it's on to try and get a worldwide audience. It's on at like 3 p.m. local time, and it's like, I don't know that the locals are going to come, like, take a day off work to go and watch the group stage of the Club World Cup. I think it's something, though, as we get to the knockout rounds, I think you'll see more interest because you'll start getting matchups that you kind of recognize a bit more, and the fans of those teams will start coming out a bit more. The price of tickets was ridiculous as well, from what I remember. Like, it was insane. And then you could actually start buying the tickets cheaper secondhand, because if you bought tickets to the Club World Cup, you were first in line for tickets to the World Cup. And so people were buying the tickets and then selling them on for cheaper. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
I think I think the Club World Cup is an event, and what they're trying to do in like 10 years time will probably be quite good. But I think just how it's been organised, this first iteration is absolutely horrendous. I even listened to another sports podcast last week, and they were saying that, I can't remember which stadium it was or which game, but they were offering a deal where if to students in the local university where the stadium is, if they purchase 1 ticket, they get 4 for free to take their friends with them. And it's like, that's a bargain. But who really wants to go watch Ulsan versus Mamelodi Sundowns on like 2 p.m. midweek? No wonder there is only like 2,000-3,000 fans, if that. It's just, I think, quite poorly organised this year. But I do agree with Josh that a World Cup's a World Cup will always get pretty good turnouts.
Although the financial, pricing wise, if you see like some videos of people going to stadiums there, and then, or even like those Disneyland videos, they're very popular. It's like $20 for a drink almost in the stadium, right? And then our fans gonna go there. And also, what about getting into the country and then getting kicked out of the country?
Yeah, there's all of that as well.
Just get deported back for free, maybe, but
arguably the bigger question mark, right?
Yeah, that's also another thing. But let's see how it goes. Curious who's gonna win. I really hope we see some underdog, some kind of Asian team or South American team, kind of sticking it to the European teams. But
there's a higher chance of your Dempsey getting a progression increase than I think, mate. It'll probably be. I don't know what the knockouts look like in terms of the brackets and which group feeds into what, because I don't really care about who's in which group at the moment. Probably be like a PSG Bayern final or something like that.
Yeah, I am curious about this. I don't know, is Miami, did they play now? Like Miami Porto? Because Miami is overhyped, of course. Oh, did they play later? They'll just start in 1 hour from recording, but this will be fun. Like, what like, kind of this veteran team of Messi and Busquets and Suarez, can they actually compete with an actual European top club as Porto? Any predictions there? What do you think?
I mean, I'm surprised Suarez can still walk because it looks genuinely painful for him whenever he has to break into a light jog. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's difficult to know like how serious the teams are taking it. Like, I think if it was in the middle of the season and Porto were kind of fresh off league matches, then I wouldn't give Inter Miami much hope. But the MLS has like improved so much. Even I started watching it through So Rare, and even in like those 2 or 3 years, like it's come on so far in terms of the quality of it, but there are still some absolutely shocking football players playing for those teams. So, Miami are one of the best. And hey, my bronze team's named after them. So, like, hopefully they'll do all right.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. Those are like fun, like what's the actual quality? Also, the Saudi Arabian team, like how good are they? Well, yesterday
they played right
like
against
1-1.
Madrid. Yeah,
Hilal Madrid 1-1. So yeah, maybe Saudi league is actually pretty decent. Okay. Nothing else? Then beer time.
Nope. I reckon beer time.
Great. So we had actually, did we have any reactions to the monks getting kicked out?
No reaction to the monks, but
no
a few people,
right?
a lot of people have said that they've tried Kev's beer, the one you suggested, the Ignusa, and they liked it, as well as the flurry of positive comments for Kev being on, which he was very appreciative of. But yeah, he's put in a good beer. We had no angry Belgian monks so far, unless they're like 2 episodes behind, which is perfectly possible. They could be
maybe we'll have an angry Dio in general one of those days. But yeah, the top 3 right now is number 3 is the Whitstable Bay Pale Ale Workspace Choice. Second place, Ignusa, Kev's beer that he added last week, and Pacifico from Laird is number 1. That's a kind of a Mexican Desperados Corona type beer, I think. So, Josh, do you have a favorite beer, and which one? Where would you put it in the top 3?
So my favorite is probably Neck Oil.
Good man, you absolutely.
Yes.
Well, you can't put that on there because it's already been
Jimbo's choice.
I know.
We're gonna be really good friends in Paris, mate.
Yeah, it's such a good beer. But I know I can't use it, so I'm gonna go all soppy and combine my like honeymoon and relationship into this choice. There is a beer that I really like called Via Roma. It's like in a kind of like light blue bottle with orange lion or something on it as the logo, and that is delicious. And I went to Whitstable with my now wife when we just got together, and I was skimming stones and fell flat on my ass. We still managed to get through it, but I'm going to remove the Whitstable there.
The Whitstable gets kicked.
And Via Roma can go on there because the place where we stayed on our honeymoon was on Via Roma in Lake Como. So so all came together there. Yeah, Via Roma.
Okay. Via Roma.
There you go,
Josh.
I love the reason for kicking out 3rd place. I just had a bad experience in Whitstable, so regardless of the drink's decent or not, it just has to go. It has to go.
Yep.
So it sounds very Italian with like Via Roma 3rd place, Ignusa 2nd, and Pacifico the 1st. We need maybe Frage to come back with one Italian beer on the 1st spot.
I think someone needs to come in and just put Carlsberg at the top just to throw it all off. Just
tenants.
Let's see. All right, time for the proper spotlight right now. So first of all, Josh, what is your MFL story?
So, like 850 other people, or however many he's up to now, it was Nep who introduced me to the game. But I think before he'd really made any videos about it, he was like, have a look at this. And he kind of sent me a few links to the games his teams were playing. And I just started watching a few of them. And I'd always loved Football Manager. And I'd waited for kind of an online Football Manager. I don't know why the online version of Football Manager never really like hit my radar, and it was gone before it ever did do that. And so I don't know, there was just so much of this like combined my love of kind of data, tactics, football, gaming, and I was like hooked after about 3 hours of looking into it. And then I read the white paper front to back and like just tried to get as much knowledge as I could out of it. And I think I even sent a few, this might need correcting, because there's a point in it where it said like 1 MFL equals $1, and then on the next page it was like $1 equals 800 MFL. I was like, well, those two things can't be the same. But like, yeah, I just, everything about it was great. So I was then looking at, okay, I'll buy in. Ice was the lowest league. I didn't care that much about having like my own team with its own history. Like I wasn't attached to it at that point. And so I was looking at clubs on the market. I wanted to get involved. It was right in the middle of the season. And I was like, it was season 3, I think. And so I saw a Stone team go up for $80. And I was like, it's the same price as getting a brand new team in Ice. It's got a team that I can play for the rest of the season. And I thought they were performing worse than the team should have been performing. So I was like, I can go in there. I'll be like Big Sam. We'll turn it around. We'll keep him up. And then I'll have a Stone team for the same price as I would have got an Ice team that I'd have then still needed to fill with players. That was the worst group of players I've ever seen in MFL. I'm not sure anybody has ever put together a team that badly. And I think it was it Akaneko? Was that his name? The guy who had like loads of players. Yeah. And it was one of his teams that I got, and so renamed it, rebranded it into Minami because they it was like a prefecture in the city that they're from, and I was like, oh, well, we'll run with that, and then that's now been my naming structure for the other team, although not my free-to-play team. And I got relegated in Season 1 from Stone in the playoff, but fortunately, Ice wasn't full, and so I actually got a reprieve and stayed up in Stone. And then in between Season 3 and Season 4, bought my first Ice team, off Japes, who's someone I'd introduced to the game, and it's a Welsh team. I'm half Welsh. I was like, okay, the Carmarthen crew then became a thing, and it was like, okay, I've got these two teams now. Hopefully we'll just like move up the leagues together. Progression will kind of like mean that they'll keep each other intact. Carmarthen crew were never good enough to get promoted out of Ice, and I bought pretty well in that kind of in between Season 3 and Season 4. Minami then just were brilliant that next season in Stone. Managed to get into I finished second. I could have finished first. I just like, there was a couple of games I just didn't play well in, didn't set up right tactically. And then got lost. I lost in the most infuriating manner in the second place playoff. I hit the post 3 times in the space of about 5 in-game seconds. I had like 4 XG or something ridiculous and lost 1-0 to 0.2 XG. It was like, it was one of those where you just come away going, I genuinely don't like this game. However, I then won out in the rest of the playoff structure, so promoted to Iron, and I was like, okay, stay up in Iron. Somehow came third, could have won that league as well. I stumbled across a tactic at the beginning of last season that just worked unbelievably well, and just played. I like the football was amazing, the goals were amazing. I was beating teams that were better than me. It was a lot of fun. And then there was that moment of, do I really want to get promoted to bronze because it's going to be a tough season? I was like, it's all right. I'm only in the playoffs. I'm going to get knocked out. I actually played Kev's team that was also in Iron and won on penalties in a very tight game. Like, it was quite an even game. Won very comfortably then to get to the final, and then came up against a team that clearly just wanted to get relegated. Like, they rotated out all of their best players, and so I've now got a team in bronze that is essentially a team that should be struggling to stay in Iron, and I'm not investing a lot of like money into it to try and keep it up. It was never my plan to keep investing. I just want the players to progress. I want to like make smart moves, sell players when I think they've hit the top of their progression or when I think I can get the most for them, and then make smart buys to replace them. kind of, I've been trying to sell and buy to skip the tier break between uncommon and rare because I don't want to hold players at 74 for a full season because I need players to progress to at least give me a fighting chance of staying in bronze. And then, yeah, I mean, like, my ice team did really well last season, didn't get promoted, but it shouldn't have been anywhere near close to, like, being promoted anyway. And then at the beginning of season 5, I won... Well, I think I won the WenDirk quiz. It was like I'd been the bridesmaid on like the previous 3 quizzes. I'd come second, and I won a free team. And I was like, I don't have the players to fill this free team, so how am I gonna? I'd still want to play with it, and so I looked on the market for 0% contracts that just had game clauses, and I filled it with 0% contracts, and that's now my like free-to-play team. I called them Christov's Heroes because they're from Bulgaria. That was the only reason why. And then I had to do that thing of going, is he Bulgarian? Bulgaria? Or is it Hungary? Is it, like, am I thinking of, it is Stoichkov, isn't it? Yeah, it's not Pushkas. Yeah, okay, right. So I got all that right. And they outperformed all my expectations last season. Like, we should have come 12th, finished 8th in the league, and got to the final of the cup. And got I think it was 2,500 MFL by the end of the season. So that's now 4 like common players that I could then introduce as my own players on top of the 0% contract. So yeah, I'm running 3 teams. One, it was supposed to be like feeder clubs to each other, but the gap between ice and bronze
that's what I've got now.
Is too damn big. So yeah, no, it's I just love the game. It's everything that I love in kind of what gaming should be. I like the community. You know, there's very few people you meet in the community who you wouldn't go for a beer with, kind of thing, like just in those interactions. I like that it's small as well, that the dev team are able to kind of chat to you on a regular basis, that you can see the plan for the future. The white paper is really well put together, like laying out plans for the future, but also laying out essentially the idea that there are a lot of other Web3 games. And the problem I think all the Web3 games have is getting to that point where it is a self-sufficient ecosystem where you don't need people coming in to keep feeding it. And I know a lot of people would hear that and think, well, yeah, you just don't want to be a pyramid scheme. It's not exactly that. Like, if I talk about SoRare for a second, once players start retiring, the then young players who come in should replace those cards. And so at that point, the number of cards in the ecosystem would stay the same. And so then it's just, can you beat the other people who are also playing SoRare by buying the right cards, getting a young talent, knowing that you can put them together in the right lineup. The thing that I love about MFL is that time period that is 15 years of a player's career in SoRare is shortened to essentially a year and a half, which is the average like player's life cycle of when they're born to when they'll retire. As soon as you hit that 15 years, you can really control the number of players that are in the ecosystem, like what rating they are. And that's an exciting thing for me because it doesn't require new money coming in. It's just you're competing with each other to see who can be the best, who can manage their team the best. So that was the like main thing when I read the white paper, that I could see the future of what the game could be, and that it didn't require constant new people coming in to what is quite a niche game to maintain it in the future.
A lot of things to unpack there.
Yeah, sorry. I did warn Jimbo. I did go off on lots of tangents.
I also realized we're actually in the same bronze league. Did you know that?
Yes. No, I knew that because I set up for the first game of the season and I was like, okay, let's see how we get on. The tactics did well last year. Maybe I can outperform a 7-1 loss. And I was like, who the hell has just beaten me 7-1? Oh, it's Calva. Great.
It's my tech team who is now struggling. But yeah, you are, I think, closing the gap a little bit. But I'm still,
that was up until last night. That was the only loss I'd taken in the first 6 games. Lost quite comfortably last night, but I think that will happen when you've got at least like a 3 overall difference to every team you play at some point. Yeah. So you're just not going to get that tactical matchup. But I mean, I'm about to play the bottom 2 teams in the league. So if I can win those 2, then I'm like staying up genuinely is on the cards at that point. So that would be insane if I could stay up in bronze this year.
Welcome to the bronze heist. Welcome to the bronze heist.
Yeah, we're all in the bronze.
Even stacking a club, Calva's like reverse bronze heist. You know, he should be in silver, but he's somehow becoming bronze heist.
Reverse bronze. Yeah, we should have a name for that too. But yeah, I love, for example, that you just said about the pyramid scheme, because I think a lot of family dinners, they're like, oh, what? My mom is always like, what about your little football game? And then always my dad and brother-in-law, they're taking the piss and saying it's a pyramid scheme. But you kind of unpacked it there, like, no, it's actually quite self-sufficient, which is a great thing to hear from many people, because there's always a lot of words about supply and people and you know, have to put in money. And I love also your YouTube video about that one team, the free team, right? It's like, this is totally free. Well, I won this one free, but you could just buy a club and then loan all those guys in and then take it from there, right? And see, can you make money or can it be sustainable? Can you get new guys? That's also great to show both things.
I've got a quick question for you, Josh. Based off that free team and the 0% contracts that you bring, obviously you have the minimum clause with quite a hefty percentage on the back of that, providing that incentive and that push to ensure you rotate those players. I imagine there's quite a lot of managers that listen to the pod and get into MFL and new managers. They might like this question about how did you go about negotiating those 0% contracts? Because a lot of people may find they struggle to bring in new players, especially in Spark or Ice. They struggle to bring them in on a nice percentage, let alone, you know, like 10%, whatever some people are doing. How did you get around bringing those 0% contracts in?
So in last season, they were all auto accepts.
Oh, okay.
Every single one was like, I just searched for an auto accept because my club had no players in it. I knew that if I sent an offer, if the person just checked my team, they'd go, well, I'm not loaning to you because you've got no players in there. So it had to be auto accept. And I actually had like 4 or 5 people message me like trying to cancel the contracts. And I was like, well, just wait until I've built the full team. And then if you're still not happy, then I'll cancel it. They all became happy eventually. And so like that was the way that I did it. And you can still do it. Like because there's only like 4,000 managers or so that are playing the game. So like my video got, I think it's got 1,300 or 400 views. I was really worried that I wasn't going to get any auto accept 0% contracts because it was just going to be like too flooded. And obviously with the wedding, I was busy. Like I couldn't keep checking the scout market, but there are still loads of 0% auto accept contracts available. Last season, the way that I filtered them was I wanted players with super high stats. Even if it didn't match their position, I just wanted players that had something that made them different to other people. So I had like central midfielders with massive defending, or I'd have like right backs with massive shooting. And it was just kind of like trying to make the most out of having 50 rated players and just going, they're going to do something because they've got this silly stat that's better than everything else. So that was kind of how I built it last year. This year was a little more, I posted in a few Discords and I was like, I'm doing the same thing. Here's the evidence of what I did last year. Like, I'm going to do it again. Will you give me your player for 15 games and I'll give you 4 or 5% if I don't play them for those 15 games. So it was a little easier this year, but I think networking though, like posting and saying, this is what I'm doing, like this is having a track record massively helps. You know, you've got to have that season before of going, these were all auto accepts last year. This is how I did. I played everybody. This was the progression I managed to get. Like that definitely helps. So you have to have a bit of history, but those auto accepts are still there. In fact, half of the team I've got this year are auto accepts. So especially the ones from Ronin, because he clearly just doesn't care about anything lower than limited. So yeah, no, it's you've got to manage it though. It's something if that is the way that you want to play, because you have to manage that percentage still comes off your 100%, even if it's a clause in a contract. So if it's all 10%, you can only get 10 players doing that. So you still have to manage that percentage, and then you have to manage the games as well. You need to know that you've got enough games to play all of those players. Otherwise, you're going to start shipping MFL out. So it's definitely our way to play. I'm not sure it's the funnest way, but I'm like enjoying the experiment of it to see where it could be in 2 or 3 seasons time.
And that challenge of doing something different and seeing how it goes. Yeah, So there you go. So sum it up, make use of 0% contracts, do it successfully once the first season, and after that you've done the hard work, and then you can tell people, look what I've done, and look after your players and give them a progression, etc., and then keep going, and just going to try and snowball it up and up and up. Brilliant, great answer. I wanted to ask that because there'll be a lot of people who listen who wouldn't have watched your videos about that, who want to know, how on earth did he get all those on 0%? How on earth have people done that?
Yeah, I think, well, that's also something I did in the end. It's just you put all those low commons you packed. Probably opened some common player pack just for those progression wonders, and then you're like, yeah, but now they're not going to play, and maybe you're stingy and you don't want to put them in the dev center. So I also chucked some at 0+4, 0+5. And then indeed, this is the challenge with signing from scouting, is all those clauses. And I had people before reaching out, like, can you cancel the contract, then send him without the clause, he's going to guarantee to play, and otherwise next season, I'm not going to, you just disregard with me, like whatever. But yeah, it's hard indeed with clauses to get at the cap, I think. So that's maybe one lesson you learned. Are there any other, if you like, lessons from like season 5 to season 6, or things you're now doing differently that you realized this is better, or I should, maybe about tactics or formations or players?
Tactics is an interesting one because I didn't have a lot of time to test. In fact, I ran 0 tests between season 5 and season 6. What I did a lot, though, in season 4 was watch other people's games as well as my own and try and work out, okay, if I change something in my tactic, what does that look like when I'm watching the game? So that if I watch someone else play, I can start trying to think, okay, I know, like, you can generally tell when someone's playing on direct, for example, because you just can see the volume of long passes they make. But then it's the individual instructions, like, have they given their wingers high freedom? You can usually tell by how deep they come to collect the ball. Like, there are things you can do from watching games where you can begin to understand how tactics are working. So, like, this season, instead of testing myself, I just watched some of the, like, better players in the game and what their tests were doing, what formations they were using, and then trying to work out what tactics they were using to kind of see what tweaks might be needed. I think tactically is always a learning process. I think one of the things I was guilty of in my first season was trying to change my tactic for everyone I played. Now, this goes against, I think, Kev, because Kev has like absolutely blasted silver, and he's played a different tactic every single game. But I think there's something to be said for having the tactic that works for your players. And it might not work in every game. You might end up coming against something that counters it really well. But having a system that you know how it plays, you know the tweaks that you can make to try and exploit, I don't know, a different formation you're coming up against, or you can see they've got a slow fullback and I've got a fast winger, so I know how to try and exploit that now in this tactic. I think they're having something solid that you stick to with variations off it is a lot better than trying to play every single formation over the like 30 games that you have over the course of a season. That was probably my main learning, and not getting too hung up on players not progressing early in the season, because I have a tendency to do that.
We have a tendency to do that.
I think everyone indeed.
We're all guilty of doing that.
I even had some guy message me like, I packed this guy, he played 5 games and he had no progression yet. Like, yeah, that's like,
although
I wouldn't worry.
cup game experience may as well not be a thing as far as I'm concerned, and I've had like no stat boosts off of cup games so far. So anyway, we'll hopefully the games tonight will bring a few +1s.
Double game days.
Yeah, no, unique progression paths. You never know. I saw some crazy late bloomers this week, like +5, like their whole career almost nothing, and suddenly +4 in this season. Like those paths exist too. So
that's what we keep telling ourselves. We've just got like the guy who's 16 years old and got +1 potential, and we're just like, oh, brilliant. And that +1 was in his first season, and now
that can also happen. There's stories for everything, examples for everything. That's the beauty. Okay, so we also want to talk a bit more about the Diamond Heist experience. So of course it was mainly to farm MFL, right? But did you learn anything from that experience? Did it pay off, do you think, also? MFL wise? Was it fun losing, or you were like desensitized to that, and then you were like, okay.
On the last point, is it fun losing? I think more people need to have the mentality that losing can be okay. That it's okay to accept you're going to be in a relegation battle when you get promoted. Because if you don't do that, then there's a temptation to keep putting money in to try and keep like building your team up. And I think people can get caught in those loops sometimes. Like, it's okay to slowly progress rather than feel like you have to do it every season. Was the Diamond Heist success? Yes, but tentative yes. We still got to see how it goes. Like, I'd always liked the idea. In fact, I heard Trust the Process talk about it, and I think he was chatting with Laird, and he essentially said that players, the value in them is progression, and clubs, the value in them is MFL, because it's the clubs that earn MFL, and it's the players that progress for you to sell on. And so I was like, okay, how high, like what price could you buy a team, just get the minimum rating needed for the league, and it makes sense from a kind of financial perspective? And I found this team that was in Platinum, and it was $750 or something. And I kind of sent it to Nepenthes and Japes, who we've got like a little Discord channel where we just talk about MFL all the time. And I was like, if we're ever going to do this, this is the club to do it with, because I think like the value that we're getting here, even if we got relegated down to silver, just take coming last in Platinum, take coming last in gold, and then try and hold in silver. The MFL return on that is like, if we kind of said I think it was $2.50 for a common pack, the like pounds return or the dollar return was double what we'd have paid. And I was like, for 12 weeks, that feels pretty good. And so we bought the team, and about 24 hours later, Nep went, lads, I think we've bought a diamond team. And the guy we bought it off, XVIX, had kind of messaged and gone, I might have made a mistake here. And it was like, okay, you have made a mistake, but we have now bought the team. It was like one of those tough things where you could understand him being really frustrated because he's undersold the team, but obviously from our perspective, like, we're not going to give it you back kind of thing. Then we had like 3 options going into Diamond that I ran through each of them. Buy a team that could compete, which would have cost $30,000 to $40,000. Now, I don't have the financial power to do that. I don't think even Nep or Japes did either. Or at least, there would have been conversations with the wives none of us wanted to have. We looked at like potentially loaning in or like players to try and compete. And what we found was it was really expensive from a percentage point of view. Like, we could get an 11 for about 85%, but then we're only getting 15% of the MFL. Like, it wasn't a team that would guarantee staying up either. And so it was like, it just never really worked out. And so mine was like a managed decline. It was like managing Manchester United. It was, you just bring in the players that you're going to get relegated with, but are all 83 rated, because that's what you need to be in Diamond. We'll just take losing every week, target the cups, which didn't work. We lost. We won 1 game in the cups, but that was the initial plan. And then just kind of eat the decline. I then started looking at how much people were paying percentage-wise for a loan of an 83 or 84 rated player in like silver. And I was like, in Diamond, that the equivalent's like 0.75%. I don't mind giving away 0.75% to get an 83 that we don't have to buy. We don't have any of the risk involved in that. So we brought in quite a lot of loan players in that first season. So we made, I think, 330,000 MFL from the Diamond Heist in season 1. I got 30% of that just because we split it 30-40 just for ease of like selling packs on and like how we were going to deal.
You got the 40.
Nep, obviously. And so I've sold all of my packs now on Floaty and made around $500 from it after the 7.5% tax. So considering we bought the team for 725 and that's only 30%, like, it has worked. Like, the amount that it's brought in, it has worked. What we've now started doing is just going, well, yeah, but we'd like to stay in gold. So we're now buying players like the kind of 85 rated centre back earlier so that when we get relegated from Platinum, because we're going to get relegated from Platinum, we've then got a team that can survive in gold. It's it's not fun losing every week, but it's kind of fun knowing that it's more of a long-term project that is it's already bringing returns. It's already working in that sense. So, and it's nice having a Lego in the gallery, even though they're not in one of my teams. So, yeah.
Is he on a nice contract though? That Lego.
He's on a 0% contract. I bought it from the guy who owned him, but it's fine. It's fine. It's the progression. Remember, players are for progression, not for MFL. That's what I keep telling myself.
Can you get him for mid-season, or are you going to just keep him there? Or
I'm going to send a message and see if there's a sweetener I can throw in. See if we can swap, because I think he's in iron at the moment, that Lego that I've got, and we've got like 83 centre backs. It's like, do you want to swap?
Yeah,
we could kind of
iron, like very good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Progression wise, also, of course. But yeah, so it was a good choice, the Diamond Heist. And
although I am quite like, there's a part of me that feels like we maybe shouldn't have said as much as we did publicly, because it does feel like there's a lot of people doing that in lots of different levels this season. I know it was something that had already happened. I really don't want to be like, yeah, we came up with the idea. No, Trust the Process was the first person who did this and, got his own rule brought in because of it. But, two teams are essentially eating the relegation from Diamond. Obviously, you had the like $5,000 purchase last year because of all of the MFL from that season. And then obviously another season in Diamond. So my learning experience from it was that 83 is too low for Diamond as a minimum rating. Yeah, and I actually think they could bump the ratings now in a couple of divisions just to kind of stop it from happening, because as much as I benefited from it, I don't think it should be something that happens. I think it removes something, especially from the top division in the game.
Yeah, it goes against the nature a little bit of just sports.
Easy to say that now that we're out of it. I absolutely
but it's those are the rules, right? You can, within the rules, you can do it. Maybe it feels a little bad, or like, I don't know. But yeah, and now we have 2 Diamond Heists. And they multiply. But it feels it. We talked about it with Cav, right? Yeah, you have just the schedule itself. When can you have your free rotation? That kind of makes the competition a bit, can we say it? Skews it a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not the best, but it's possible. It's the IMFF approves of it. Still,
you may have not been the first team to do that. Obviously trusted, but you've set the trend of if anyone shouldn't be in a division, they just add Heist at the end of the division name. So now it's like, Diamond Heist. Well, now you've got Bronze Heist, Gold Heist, Silver Heist. You've created that trend. So you're the first to do that. You've got that.
Trademark. Maybe you should get MFL for that. Some royalties.
Well, it was Nep who came up with
that's why you got the extra 10%, isn't it, really? He just brought the name.
Exactly.
He had the royalties.
Yeah. Even with the background in there, he's still wants that 40%.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Good to have a bit more details about that. So let's talk data, because you are XLS.
Not extra large.
Not extra large.
The spreadsheet. Is it like Josh spreadsheet you called before?
So when I first started making kind of like content online, when I first started working with Net, I was Spreadsheet FIFA was my name, and then changed it to Spreadsheet Josh. And every time I did it, every time anyone like learned my name, you could just hear the little chuckle, and I was like, it's got to change. So I'm like, I mean, we'll see at the meetup. I'm looking forward to seeing who's a lot taller and who's a lot shorter than we expect, because I think you get like weird pictures in your head of how tall and short people are. But I'm like 6'3". I'm like quite broad, so XLs kind of worked in that sense, but also from a spreadsheet sense as well. So yeah, I've always been partial to a good spreadsheet.
So about spreadsheets and data, what have you learned from doing some analysis?
That the analysis we can do season by season probably doesn't have enough data in it to give you results that are reliable. So in season 4, I scraped 20,000 games worth of data, like into a spreadsheet, and then pivot tabled those to kind of create what is essentially now MFL Coach. It looks very similar actually to the spreadsheet I created. And there's just not enough like formation matchups. There's not enough games where a 4-3-3 attack plays the 3-4-2-1 to really know who has the advantage, because there's also then all of the individual instructions, there's how you set the team up, but also the ratings differences. Like, does having a higher rated defense against a higher rated attack, does that give you different results than if it was the other way around? Like, there's a lot of nuances to it that, as much as I think that they are absolutely useful as tools and you can gain something from like collecting that much data and trying to analyze it, the unknowns are still large enough that I hope that it never happens, but I don't think this game can be min-maxed and have like a true meta in that sense, because I think there's too many variables and too many unknowns as an observer that you can get something from data, but a lot of it has got to be feel and does this make sense? Are the changes I'm making, like, can I get actual feedback from those? That was mainly what I took from that, because 20,000 games was a lot of data to try and like trawl through. But it was also good to kind of like then compare when MFL do their kind of like engine update or the like seasonal update where they say, this is how many upsets we have, this is the percentage of upsets. Like, I had all of that data already and was like, that's exactly what I've got from these 20,000. It's not a lie. Like, it is real data. It was good to do. There's a reason I didn't do it in season 5 and I'm not doing it in season 6. It was like too much to go through, and I'll just let like MFL coach and MFL assistant, like all that kind of stuff, do that kind of, I don't know. It was very manual because I'm not that great at like coding or anything, so it just had to be a bog standard scrape.
Yeah, but no, me neither. But like, if let's say now you didn't do any testing, right? But if you would do some testing, or how would you do that, or how would you approach it? And with data, could you say something about it for people who are not the best or don't know where to start with testing? Okay.
So one of the things that was the most useful actually from scraping all that data was it essentially gave me a list of teams playing formations at certain ratings, and it surprises me that nobody's created that is just like a list of, okay, these are people playing this format, or the last game they played this formation and this is their overall rating, so that when you do testing you can then find someone who matches up to your next opponent kind of thing. When I test, it's mainly like big changes. I'll start at the extremes and then try and find out, okay, which extreme works better, how can I make it work better and better as I bring it in. But the thing that you have to be careful of, I think, with testing is taking one result and going, that's worked. Because the differences over a 10-game stretch can be massive. In fact, it was one of my issues with last season's engine, is you could play the same person with no tactical changes twice in a row and like win the first game 5-0 and lose the second game 5-0. And it felt like it was way too much variance. It's better this season, I think, especially from kind of, as I say, the people I've observed testing, you can get more reliable feedback, but you have to do that over at least 5 games. You have to run that test over 5 games and dig into the data, go into the match report. You can get so much from the match report. It was one of the first things that I got told was like, when you're reviewing a game, don't look at the stats, go to the match report. You'll see how each player works. You'll see the like defensive duels one. You'll see how many times they were dribble passed, and then you can start seeing like how you can change the dribbles passed. Like if you tell them to stop diving in, it reduces the amount of times they're dribble passed, but also reduces the amount of defensive duels that they'll win. But if they're being dribble passed 90 times a game, which I have seen, then it's okay to, if you can halve that and not get dribble past 45 times, but maybe lose 1 or 2 more defensive duels, I'll probably take that. So I think that's my biggest lesson from testing is you have to test at volume. The best players at the game, the people who feel like they have the best handle on the engine, test hundreds of games and continually test as the season starts. It's not they find their formation in the week before the season starts and then stick with it. It's about finding, okay, who am I playing next? Like really diving into detail, but you have to test a lot to get any reliable data.
I was going to say, I've got some good news for you though. I think whilst you were away on your honeymoon and your wedding, MFL coach Lexus released an opponent finder where you can search by formation, your min max overall, and it basically brings up all the friendly matches that hit that criteria, and then you can go and have a look.
Get in.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it was one of the most useful things, so I'm really glad he's added that, because, yeah, a lot of people will like post in Discords and stuff and go, does anyone have a 4-3-3 I can test against at this rating? But it's nice to just have test against multiple people playing that formation, because not everyone's going to have the same instructions.
Each lineup in each squad is different. We all know, like, drastically different. Even though it may not be mapped on the stats, they are just so much different.
Yeah. Way too many variables, indeed. What you said. It's impossible with all these instructions, team player. And then, indeed, if you test it a couple times, there's so much variation. Like the 7-1 against Miami, that can be the other way around even sometimes, right? It can happen with this engine sometimes. So
I won't be running the 4-3-3 defense against you next time. Just pre-warning, because that clearly didn't work.
No. So you never know. Then we heard, or actually you said to us, that you have some interesting take about the league. Something you say.
What's this about, Josh?
Yeah, that could be changed or should be changed. Maybe do a little pitch.
Yeah, so it's the rule around forfeiting matches. I like the rules around forfeiting matches, but my feeling is if you forfeit one match, that should be you. I don't think you should be allowed to forfeit any games. And I also think if you forfeit, if as a team you've now forfeited the league, I think every match you played should be a 3-0 win to your opponent. I don't think previous results should then count, because I think it becomes unfair. Especially when you get like teams that will set a lineup and then forget about their team. They get progressively easier to play against. And so the league balance it's not rotation, it's just people are now going to get free wins. And I think, if you play a team that is not rotating but are terrible, then that last person to play them before their fitness is too low to turn up, they're going to win like 9-0. And so now they've got that extra goal difference. I just think that if a team is removed from the league or is stopped from playing in the league, every result should be 3-0, and you just rework out the league table off the back of that, because I just think it's slightly unfair. Not that this has ever happened to me. I definitely didn't draw against a team that was, right at the beginning of the season and then stopped playing. Definitely didn't happen to me. But yeah, I just think that the rules around it, I get why they're in place, but for me, it feels like everyone should get a 3-0 win, or nobody should get any points from playing them. So I just don't think it should be a difference.
So even if that team is drawn and then won so they won the first game, drew their second game, lost all the rest, and after 10 games they forfeited, all of those games, regardless if they won on a regardless result, should be either 3-0 defaults to the opposing team with the 3 points, or just null and void the whole, just wipe them off the face of the...
Yeah, that they're like kicked out of the league and all results are, don't count anymore. But yeah, indeed, what you just said about the forfeits plus the heist teams, if you combine that, you can have such a huge advantage with your schedule. Like you could then have perfect rotation with the heist teams, plus you facing the forfeit teams later on. Maybe like the last match day of the first half and the last match day second, and then if you just benefit.
Or even like a team that maybe forfeits 3 games in a row, and then the player remembers that they've got an MFL team and comes in and starts rotating. It's like, well, no, they've now forfeited a number of games, and now they've rotated, so now it's a vastly different game to be played against that team than it would be earlier. I just think in terms of I don't know. I completely get the other side of it. It's an area of the game that I think it doesn't quite work. I think in terms of fairness in the league, like individual rotation where you're actively resting, like especially with my lowest rated team, the Christoph's Heroes. When I play the best teams in the league, I know I'm not going to win, so I will put in my worst players. But I'm doing that against all the best teams in the league, and then if I think I can beat you, then I will play my better players. I think that's different to forfeiting matches and then playing them. I think there's a slight difference there.
Do you think there should be an extra rule that, because at the moment it's, I know kind of on the same time. Obviously, at the moment, if they forfeit more than 5 games, they're not eligible for rewards, for example. We're almost saying, even if it's like 1 forfeit, or even bring that down to like 3 forfeits, if they have 3 forfeits in a season, then an extra rule should be in place to account for that and make sure that the rest of the league isn't skewed and imbalanced because of someone not being able to play, essentially.
Because if you think of the reasons like why you would get to 5, even to just get to 1 forfeit, you've either not got enough players in your squad, which would be an issue anyway that you can't rectify, or you've set a lineup and then not changed it for so long, and that goes on for such a length of time that I don't think that safety net of 5 forfeits should be there. Like, who's forfeiting the 4th match and then going, oh, let me come back and do it? Like, why does it matter? They clearly don't care at that point. I just don't know that it should be that long. Like, I get you might forget to set a lineup. I don't know. I can't see a scenario where forfeiting even 1 game is acceptable. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it's the one I'll go with.
The only thing I can think of, maybe 1 game, is where you've not got enough pieces for rotation, and therefore like one of your players drops below 60% before mid-season, and you can grab someone at mid-season. That's maybe like a very edge example where 1 forfeit could happen. I think if you do anything, you could drop it from 5 to 3, and then off the back of 3 have that, or even off the back of 2. But I think one might be acceptable if it's like an active player hitting 1, or they're both centre backs got red card and now they're absolutely in the bin, and if you've got a 16-man team and somehow get 6 suspensions all in 1 game, I can see there being fringe cases,
could be. And also something you added in that message was also like in IRL this would never happen. There's no like forfeiting happening. Maybe once when they have like a crazy fight, or like something in the Turkish league, you have like we're gonna boycott the game. But like normally teams don't forfeit games. They show
but if a team does fold, they usually null and void all the fixtures. It's not like, or they make all the results the same. Yeah. They don't have some people having played the game and some people having not played the game.
Yeah, indeed, exactly. Okay, one more question we have from our last guest, Kev. He has quite an interesting one. He had, what is a secret you haven't told anyone before, or kind of an MFL secret you could choose if you would like to do an MFL secret or an actual secret?
Well, I'll do one that's related to both, and then I'll go for a very specific MFL one. It was only about 18 months ago that it really clicked in my brain that the Stade de France and the Parc de France were 2 separate stadiums. So the fact we were now going to one of them, like, obviously,
good to know.
Yes,
they just swap the whole stadium.
Turn up to the wrong stadium, like, guys, where is everyone? And then my secret in MFL is that my promotion from Stone was probably as a result of Snake Football Group, because I had one of their teams in my league, and for the rating, it was one of the most wild teams I'd seen, and they were playing the 3-5-2. And I hadn't really seen anyone play it, especially not in the way that this was being played. Like, my team was being completely pulled out of position. They beat me in both matches, which stopped me from winning the league. It's why I ended up in second. And the second time I played them was about 4 games before the end of the season. I was like, you have to tell me what you're doing. Like, this is like, it's hurting my brain. I haven't been able to replicate it. And so they said, this is the thing that I change. Like, this is the thing that maybe you won't be doing. And I think it was something like they were both playing out from the back, but also going direct. There was something that didn't make sense. And it just meant that essentially when they won the ball, they launch it forward. And because both the strikers and the wingers were on high positional freedom, someone was in behind. Or you'd launch up one header and someone was running beyond them. That formation won me my final playoff game to get promoted. So yeah, that's probably my secret.
Yeah, great story. I love to hear that. Do you have a question for the next guest? Anything you would like to know?
I've been trying to come up with a clever one all day, and my brain just isn't firing. But I think my my question would probably be, at what league do you think you can buy your way up to with no tactical ability? Because I think people have different answers for a lot of different places, and I think I've found where I think it is, but I'd be interested to see where.
If money's no object.
If money's no, like, in terms of if you were just trying to buy your way out of a league, yeah, Jay Stansfield, like what league can you? What league can you buy your way out?
Not me saying Wrexham whatsoever there. The Welsh connection. I must defend the Welsh here.
Wow, it's a Hollywood story. Come on, we've all got to get on board, surely.
No, I went to uni at Chester, so I'm naturally affiliated with Chester, so I've got a valid reason. If I wasn't, I probably would follow Wrexham. I go, no, I can't.
I've had this debate with my parents. Like, I don't know what a good club owner looks like if it's not Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. Like
Delia Smith.
I mean, if she got drunk every week and got on the pitch going, "Where are you? Let's be having you," then yeah, I'd absolutely be on board. But I just think those kind of owners are disappearing out of English football. And as much as I know that they are American and doing it for a TV show and all that kind of stuff, I think especially Rob McElhenney has absolutely fallen in love with football and with the club and with the community. I just don't know what good ownership looks like if that's not it in this kind of horrendous world of petrostates owning the
Greed.
biggest institutions in football. So yeah, I'm a member of FC United of Manchester, who were run as a co-op, one vote, one share. So I'm big into the ownership side of football. Even in Italy, the No Calcio Moderno, it's a big thing for me. I think modern football's so missing in the community aspect that you get in something like MFL, because they're now institutions that are worldwide. There's something that's been lost from the communities that the football clubs used to be the heart of. But anyway, that's a soapbox for another day.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, time episode where we reveal this week's hashtag. Nice and simple. We're going to combine two words. I'm going to give you a hashtag off the back of it. Hashtag StackTicks. Because Calva just stacks teams in bronze with no regard for tactics, and it's not going very well. He's shaking his head like he doesn't disregard tactics. Maybe he does. Stactics.
Semi-stacked. I always call it semi-stacked.
If you don't know anything about tactics, what can you do? Stack your team. Stactics. That's what you got to do. So
do some stactics. Hashtag
StackTicks. Plaster it everywhere. Over all the Discords you're in, regardless of the MFL or football related or not. Just want to see them everywhere. Before we wrap things up, JoshXLs, thank you very much for your appearance in today's WenDirk studio. It's been fantastic having you on. Thank you.
No, it's been great to be here, and I mean, Led's stolen the you're amazing and what you do for the community. He covered that off, so I won't glaze in the same way. But it's been really good to be here, and as a gateway to the community, I think they've chosen two pretty good people, the community as a whole, and you too. So
thanks.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. We'll see you in Paris in a few weeks' time. Look forward to it.
Yes, see you in Paris.
Yeah,
some neck oil.
There better be some bloody neck oil in West Paris.
Neck oil on the Eurostar.
If not, I'm going to bring some on the Eurostar with you. Why are you two suitcases off just 20 cans of neck oil in each one? Thank you very much. But yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks' time, Josh. Good luck with the rest of your heists, regardless of what division they're in. Hopefully they stay in gold in a few seasons' time. Without further ado, we're going to wrap things up there. Hashtag StackTicks. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll see you this time next week for an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening.